y'all, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to make a cheesy broccoli and rice casserole and then show you at the end how you can even add in some extra chicken and make it a full meal. Tonight we're having it just alongside some chicken that we're making, but you can always add the chicken into the casserole and turn it into a one-pot dish. This is going to be all in one pot for us, but you could move it from stovetop to oven in just a stovetop pan and then into a casserole dish if you don't have a Dutch oven or anything that will go from stovetop to oven. But I want y'all to see how easy this is and how you can take some shelf-stable items and really make a meal come together quickly. So I'm going to bring y'all to the stove and we'll get started. Okay y'all, so we've got 3 tablespoons of butter heating up in the bottom of our pan. And then to this I'm going to add 1 medium chopped onion. Now my onion is frozen, so it's going to take a little bit more time to come up to temperature with this. Then we're also going to add in about 2 cloves of garlic. Sounds like I left my fridge open. We're going to let that cook for a second while I close the fridge. I did. So we've got this on a medium heat. And we're just going to let all of this soften for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to add some flour to it to make a roux. And don't be scared by the word making a roux. It's just a flour and butter or some type of oil that you're browning up so that we can make our sauce. Very, very simple. Okay y'all, our onions are getting nice and soft, so we're going to toss in about 1/4 cup, a little bit less than 1/4 cup of just plain flour. Just sprinkle it all around. And let's give this a mix. We want to let this cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, like cook off that flour taste and develop a little bit of color to it. Alright y'all, it's looking good. So we're going to go ahead and whisk in 2 cups of milk. Now we're going to start with just a little bit at a time. Just bring the temperature down a little bit so we can get it all mixed together. So I don't want any clumps. I want a creamy sauce. Just scraping the bottom with this, trying to get up some of those bits of flavor that are down there. Now we do have the temperature still on for this. We want it to come up to a simmer, and as soon as it does, we're going to turn the heat off. We do have the oven preheating at 350. But after we just need it to come back to a simmer so it'll help melt the cheeses in here, but we don't want to cook anything any longer. And it feels like we've gotten most of the little bits up off the bottom of the pan. And there we go. We're bubbling. We're going to turn it just off the heat just a little bit. And we're going to add in about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard and about a teaspoon of paprika. I'm going to add in some salt and pepper as well. Now I'm going to see if I can readjust y'all to really pull this off of this side of the stove. There we go. And then now we're going to toss in about 3 tablespoons of cream cheese. Now I have this little, about half a block left, so I'm just going to toss in the whole thing. We're going to melt this in. And then I have a cup and a half of cheddar and Monterey Jack mix that I'm going to toss in here as well to melt down. Now I shredded some, but I also found that I had some cubes left in the fridge that I really needed to use up, so I'm going to use that part of it first. You don't have to put yours in cubes, you can do the shredded, but you do want the smaller sizes so that they melt down faster. So this is mostly melted in. So I'm going to go ahead and toss in some of this cheese. And again, you can use whatever cheese that you like. I usually prefer cheddar in this, but I have cheddar and Monterey Jack, so we're going to use this. And this is a lot more than a cup and a half that you see, because we're going to use another half cup on the top. But we're putting this initial about a cup and a half of the cubes in here. Let those get nice and hot. You can see how quickly they start to melt down. So while those cheese cubes melt, and if you have shredded, it'll melt much quicker. I'm going to show y'all. So I took a shortcut this time, and I found these bags of white rice in the store that you just cook in the microwave for 90 seconds. So instead of me cooking white rice, I thought I'd just give these a try. I've never used these before, but I figured why not? This would be the recipe to try it in. So we're going to add 2 of these bags of white rice to this as soon as this is all melted in. I also went ahead and chopped up 6 cups of broccoli, and I steamed those for just a few minutes in the microwave. I have a veggie steamer. You can do it on the stove top too. You don't want to cook the broccoli all the way through, but about halfway. That way when it finishes cooking in the oven, it doesn't get too mushy. Now to add a little bit of extra color and a little bit of extra nutrients, I also shredded about 4 baby carrots into my broccoli and cooked it in the microwave as well. It will add some sweetness, not too much, but it adds just a little bit more nutrients and a little bit more color. About another minute or 2 and this cheese should be pretty melted down, and we'll toss everything in. Okay, y'all, so I'm getting impatient. I should have shredded this instead of doing the cubes, but it will be okay. They will keep melting, and it'll just mean that we'll have little pockets of cheese throughout the casserole. But we've got it mostly combined, so I'm going to go ahead and toss in our broccoli and our rice and get it all mixed around together. That way we can get it in the oven. So we have our broccoli and carrots. So as you might see, I have some funny looking broccolis in there too. Those are some of my misfit broccoli niños. They look a little bit different than the regular broccoli. So I have a little mix of both. We have a little regular broccoli that I bought at the grocery store and the broccoli niños from my Misfits box. Make sure everything's kind of pretty evenly spaced. Now we're going to top this with about another half a cup of cheese on the top, shredded. And we'll bake it in the oven at 350 for 35 minutes. So. Alright, so we'll see y'all back in 35 minutes. Hey y'all, so the cheesy broccoli rice casserole is out of the oven, and I'm going to show y'all how we sometimes turn it into a full meal or something you can do to kind of take it from just a side dish to a whole meal, which is basically the same thing. You can either just serve it alongside some chicken, or you can take some chicken cubes or rotisserie chicken and put it in there. I don't like putting it in until the very end because the broccoli and rice and everything will be enough to heat it all up. But if my chicken's already cooked, I don't want to overcook it by putting it in the oven and letting it keep on going while it's baking, because it really just needs to warm back up. If you don't want to do this step, then you can always just serve some chicken alongside and use the broccoli rice as a side dish. But I'm just going to tear up some pieces of this rotisserie chicken, toss it in, and we'll mix it around and taste test. Now with this recipe, you can use pretty much a whole rotisserie chicken. It just depends on if you like a lot of chicken or just a little bit of chicken in yours. It's not going to hurt to add more. It's just going to make it more chicken heavy. I'm going to stir this around. This pan is hot. And just let that rice and everything heat the chicken for just a minute. Let me grab my pot. Very cheesy. We're going to taste test and see how it is. Now we've got our rotisserie chicken in it, a little bit of cheese and rice, a little bit of broccoli, and the carrot is shredded throughout. Very good. And this I like better than using a can of soup. I'm not against canned soup. I just feel like you get a creamier, better taste and texture with making your own roux. So nice and cheesy, very good. Doesn't even need any extra salt. So hopefully you give this a try and let us know what you think about it. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.